But I think the biggest problems with the right is lack of education. And people don't want to talk about it. It's just like they just aren't reasonable, bro.
You know
They
what your
are.
problem is? You ain't got no education.
That's it. That is it, bro. Like they are not reasonable. And if I'm being honest, like America isn't talking about like I like we need two reasonable parties. America
Yes, yes, we
needs
do.
two
Yes.
reasonable parties in order to exist. If we have one extreme and the other that is just the opposite, it's just like that is not we
So I
cannot
have an idea though.
exist.
I have an idea. I have an idea. I don't think we can make people more reasonable, at least not easily. Humans, we're just, I don't know, man. We're not designed to be reasonable at scale, I don't think, unfortunately. But what, unfortunately, but what I think we can do is create an environment that makes being reasonable more acceptable. So, for instance, I think when you have such negativity and hate, like at a personal level, on an interpersonal decency human level, right? When that just starts to blow up, it makes being extreme more, um, acceptable. It makes it more natural to be extreme, right? So like if I come in and I'm drinking a mug that says leftist tears on it, and I'm trolling
Right.
and making fun of you, and I always make you try to look as stupid as possible. It's like in that situation, like I can't even really be reasonable with you, right?
Right.
You're just an enemy, and then I have to make you look as bad as possible, and you make me look as bad as possible, and we just do that dance until we just run to the extremes. But like if we can try to like become more cordial and more civil, kind of like the difference between talking to somebody in person and talking to somebody on the internet when everybody got keyboard courage. If we can move towards civility, then I think our politics can move back closer to normal potentially. But I don't know if we can get smarter, but I think we can get more civil.
I think we I think we got to. I like both. I would like civics to be where it's where, but I would like both though. And I agree that civility and turning down the temperature would do just turning down the temperature in general. I think would just do a lot of good. But I think our problems, even if you turn down the temperature, I think the right has some serious issues in terms of just number one, education, two, understanding objective reality. I'm talking about, bro, like we can look at a video of Capitol riots and they walk away with it being a peaceful protest.
Well, you can also show
And
a video of the Capitol riots that was peaceful, though,
I mean,
right? So that's the
you
problem, right? So like what you do is it's like imagine there was like a mass shooting, right? Killed like 100 people. And then you show like the scene like 10 minutes after the shooting. It's like, see, it's peaceful. It's like, yeah, I mean, if you show that video, if you show the other video, then it's not, right?
but
Because
they
that's what they show, right?
everyone
They'll show
right.
like the police escorting like 5 people through the Capitol. They're just walking around, talking, making conversation. You're like, see, it's fine, right? But then if you look at a different video, then you're like, oh, they broke down the window. Oh, it's an angry mob. Oh, this cop is being squeezed through the doorway. Ooh, like it just depends on what video you're looking at.
But it's to me, it's even it's like it's more than that because Republicans, like just like you said, they on Fox in general, like with Tucker and all of them, they did show those videos. They showed videos of like maybe 40 minutes before all of the craziness happened, and but like everybody had an opportunity to see what really
Dude,
happened.
I remember
And
that moment, man. I remember that moment. I'm sitting there. I think I was working that day, and then I like opened up YouTube, and I'm like seeing the riots. There's people all over the Capitol. People. I'm
yep,
like, what am I watching? I'm
yep,
like, this is crazy. I laid
yep,
down on the floor for just a moment.
yep.
I'm like, we really breaking into the Capitol trying to. I'm like,
Oh,
where are we at? What kind of country are we in right now? Like, this is.
yep,
I felt embarrassed. I'm like, this is the
yep,
United States. This is what we do in the United States. We lose an election and then we break down the building. Come on,
yep.
man. Like this is some animalistic barbarian garbage, is what it
But,
is.
but the troubling part to me is that everybody can see that, and then Lindsey Graham, Kevin McCarthy, all of Mitch McConnell, who I think is still being reasonable, as at least to holding his position, all of your reasonable Republic, Ben Shapiro, Piers Morgan back in the day, everybody comes out with this rebuke of Donald Trump, rebuke of January 6th, and then forget that it ever happened or minimalize it as soon as. And I'm like, this is where the Republican Party,
Well, they don't have
they're
a
losing.
choice. They don't have a choice. Their choice is, change your values and or minimize them or try not to talk about your values or talk about them and get kicked out by Donald Trump. Those are your two options.
But that's
Right? If you want to stay in government, you have to sign on to the big lie. You have to act like January 6th was okay. Those are your options. And if you don't, then you got to be like Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and Mitt Romney and all these honorable Republicans
and get
who
gone.
said I'm going to keep my integrity at the cost of whatever that is, right? And then it's like, okay, well then you're out of office.
But the
Okay,
cost is the Republican Party. That is the
yes,
cost.
that's
Once
the
you
cost. Yes,
that the cost is once your Liz Cheney's, once your
red
Mitt Romney's,
flags to the Republican
yeah,
Party, man.
absolutely. But that's the danger. That's the danger. Again, America needs two reasonable parties in order
Right,
to
and we're on
exist.
the left. We like, come on, Republicans,
Like
help us out,
literally,
now. Help us
like
out.
that's literally, and that's where it's just like that to me. I'm almost, I almost think the way to rescue the Republican Party is to infiltrate because it's just like if they are not going to be educated on their own, then the only way to do so is to come there, act as if you're one of them, and to educate them, and then to gradually educate the base and gradually push them towards the center. It's just like
I don't think that
it,
works, man. I think you just get attacked as a rhino. I
and
think
that's
I think that's exactly. I think Paul Ryan. I think all the old school conservatives would love to do that, but what happens? They just get kicked out of the party, and then they end up supporting Kamala Harris. I think that's what happened.
then it needs to be then the left needs to infiltrate.
We
Like I'm
need to
saying,
get
like
better. I think we need to get better on the left. Now, again,
that's
like you said, are we as bad as they are? Has the
right,
extreme taken over our party?
right,
No, the
right.
extreme has not taken over our party. The extreme exists though, and I think our leaders are kind of hesitant to call them out because we need the base, right? And if
Yeah,
we
I
really
agree with
make them
that.
upset, then it's hard to do that. But then conservative seize on that to say, well, they're not pushing back against it, and then they give the few crazy people that do exist on the left a microphone, and that's all they talk about, right? And then that the minority of the left fuels the culture war on the right. But most of us on the left aren't really. We're not woke. We're not crazy. We're just normal
Right,
people who want higher tax rates for rich folks, right? Like it's not
that's it.
yeah, it's not that crazy over here for the vast majority of people, and that's why the top of our ticket is centrist Democrats. But regardless, I think if we can not take the tribalism bait and we can approach conservatives with respect, then we can turn down the temperature in a way that makes them less afraid, that makes those negative attack ads a little less effective. um, yeah, because I don't think I think if you go on the right and try to do it, you just get marked a rhino and you end up back over here. I think the only thing we can control is ourselves, and if we do a better job on the left, um, of having respect for people on the right, right? So, for instance, you can think whatever you want about Trump, right? You can think that he's Hitler or whatever people have compared him to that. I don't think that he's I think there's similarities, but I don't think I don't think Trump's principled enough to be like Hitler. I think Hitler's
Right.
a principled person who actually
Yeah.
cared about the Aryan race. I don't think Trump really cared about anybody but himself. But anyway,
Right.
to get away from that, however you think bad about Trump, that should not impact how you think about Trump voters, right? There's two different things. We need to show respect and understanding and kindness to the Trump voter so that we can let them know that we're not crazy, and try to bring them in to create this more reasonable Republican Party. If we approach every Trump voter like they're a member of Nazi Germany, it's like we're not going to make any progress, right? So I think we need to, on our end, just try to be more civil and respectful and bring them in like brothers and fellow countrymen
I
than
agree.
attack them like they're as bad as we may think Donald Trump is personally.
I completely agree, but it's like it's understated how unreasonable the Republican Party is. It's just like you can be as kind and respectful as possible. But if we don't understand objective reality and we have our own different set of facts, it's just like y'all
Yes,
just don't get it.
but different facts doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means that you were told something different.
Right, right. It means that they need to be educated, and that's where to me, like education is the
Well,
biggest thing.
I worry about them feeling like we're talking down to them if we come at them like that. It's like, again, like you walk up to somebody, well, your problem is you ain't educated. It's like that's
And
not
that's
going to
their
go well.
problem.
I mean, even if
But,
it's
but
true, that's not going to go.
that's their problem, bro. They are dumb, dumb as rocks, bro. They are dumb. 95% of the economists say this person's better. Well, how do you think you was doing 4 years ago? It's just like 95% of economists say this candidate's economic agenda is going to be better for the economy. How do you think you was doing 4 years? Did you not hear me? It's just like it, it's hard for me, bro. It's just like, and I understand the left accountability narrative, but I'm growing tired of it when the right is fucking up so hard, bro.
Yeah, but how
They
do
are,
you fix it though? They are, but how do you fix it? And I
and
think the only thing we can control is ourselves, man. That's why I wrote my book, man.
you're
Good
right.
faith politics is like, what can
You're
we
right.
do on the left to be better? Because if you try to rely on the Republican Party to get better, you in for some trouble. I'm like, we can't rely on them. We got to do what we can do on our side of the aisle. That's what we got to do, man.
They fought. I mean, and I agree with you, and like I'm all for it. It's just like you're certainly right that we only can control what we can control. But I'm like at some point, like they need some accountability. Somebody got to tell them, y'all are fucking up. Y'all are going in the wrong direction. Y'all are wrong. Like, and it's just like if we're always going to police ourselves while they're burning down the country, it's just like that's something has to change. Like and I agree with you, turning down the temperature, and maybe I'm wrong in terms of not necessarily wrong. I'm just emotional right now. So for everyone that hears me, it's just like it's just likely an emotional moment. But Republicans have been messing up for a while, and it's just like if any other candidate, and it blows my mind, if any other candidate were to do what Donald Trump has done or said the things that Donald Trump have said and 10 years ago,
Even live the life he's lived.
even it would be unthinkable for him for them to be a candidate. He has mentioned grabbing women by the pussy, by his words, grab them by the pussy. He has been convicted of multiple crimes. It's like
Even
he
civil suits
has
for rape.
even, civil suits for it. He has incited a riot on the Capitol. It's just like I don't
Does not commit to a
understand.
peaceful transfer of power
Like,
unless he wins.
right, hasn't conceded the previous election. What are we doing? If Barack Obama, like the double standard,
Everything you're saying is exactly why I said not Trump is good enough. Like if you really
like,
understand his unique dangers, it's good enough to make a decision. Now, is it good enough for her to win? Maybe not, but it should be good enough for you to make a decision.
but it's the double standard that is concerning. It's the double standard for the right to condone this sort of behavior and get
No,
behind
speak of the double
a
standard.
candidate like
One
that.
thing I really don't like hearing is like, well, election denial is on both sides because Hillary Clinton said that Russia helped Trump. It's like that's not even comparable. That is
Right,
not comparable at all. Hillary Clinton conceded like that night. She was like that night, like, all right, you won the election. Now she said he had some help winning the election, but she never disputed that he won the election. Nobody on the
right,
left said that Hillary won in 2016.
right,
No one I've heard ever, including Hillary, ever said that Hillary won. They just said
right,
that Donald Trump had some help that he shouldn't have had.
right.
But yeah, that's the election denialism being a two party thing. That's just not that's not true.
It's it's blowing my mind the false equivalency that in the double standards that exist in this election to where Kamala has to be flawless and Trump just gets to be himself. He just can't fuck up drastically. Like, like Kamala has to be completely flawless. She has to be perfect. And Trump can't say the worst thing imaginable. He can't say the worst thing imaginable.
He don't mean that. He don't mean
Right?
what he
It's
says.
like,
You can't
it's
take
like,
Trump's. You ain't learned by now. You can't listen to what he says.
I'm like, and the thing is, like, if you listen to the Ben Shapiro Sam argument, Ben's answer to like four questions was to not take Trump for literally,
Yep.
and I'm like, what
That's
is
dangerous.
this?
That's dangerous. That is a danger,
Like,
because at that point you can do no wrong. You're
right?
infallible. You might as well just say Trump is infallible. Whatever
Well,
he says, don't worry about it. Do not worry about it.
I'm like, and that's to hold someone to that high. It's almost religious,
Yes.
and it's just like, and that
Well, here's the
is
thing. Trump demands loyalty, just like a
right,
god. Just like, do
and
not question me. Do
right,
not doubt me. If you doubt,
right,
you will be exiled.
right.
And
I
he's
mean,
executed on that.
I can commit murder. I can shoot someone. I can shoot someone. He can be recorded saying it. I can shoot someone and I will not lose a single vote. He can have a video of him recording himself saying it. This could be real. This is a real video. Like,
It's the
like,
same thing as him saying you can just
like,
grab him by the pussy. I can just shoot
listen,
somebody. I mean,
like,
it is what it
it's
is. He's like, look, I'm me. I'm
like,
me. Ain't nothing
and
nobody can do because I'm me. I'm the chosen one, as he says.
it's like, and again, he increased the deficit. It's just like, I don't understand what Republican like, I honestly don't understand. And this is like, if there was a logical pathway to Donald Trump, to me, like, as it relates to just being a reasonable Republican, like, I don't see how you logically believe that he is the best candidate for the like it I don't see it. Like, I don't even, I'm trying to
Well,
reason.
here's the logic. The logic is on the self-interest level. And this is probably the strongest argument. Is Donald Trump is the path to power, right? So that's why you have people like J.D. Vance, never Trumper, nope, never,
Right.
never kiss the ring
Called
to
him the
power. I can
closest
be
thing to
vice
Hitler.
president. I can be the vice president. Sign me up.
Right.
Sign me up. And that's what another thing. Sarah Palin in that conversation with Mehdi Hassan and Destiny. Sarah Palin said, because basically she was talking about war, and he was like, "Well, John McCain was big on war," and she was like, "Well, are you criticizing me for taking the job to be vice president?" It's the same thing. It's like, you could say, "Oh, I don't like Trump this, I don't like Trump that," but if he's your path to power, then a lot of people just go, "Well, forget those principles I had. I would like to be vice president of the United States." And so, yeah, I think that's the main argument. Honestly, I think that's because I don't think the Republicans actually believe, and especially the old school Republicans, I don't think they actually believe that Trump has good policies or that he's actually a good candidate. I think they just know and they understand that he is their path to continued power, and that if they go against him, they're just going to get kicked out of power the same way everybody else was that had principles. And it's like, well, either I'm gonna stay in office and not have principles, or I'm gonna have principles, but then I ain't gonna have office. It's like, well, then I might as well, and then someone else is gonna replace me who doesn't have principles. So what's the difference between me having principles and me not having principles? Nothing other than I get fired, right?
No.
So I mean, I think that's probably the main argument. That's the true, honest argument. I don't think they actually like him. I think they just understand that he owns the base, and as long as he owns the base, there's nothing they can do about it. There's nothing they can do. And now, as for like the non cynical, personal power dynamic argument, I think their argument is similar to Ben Shapiro's argument that he made, which is, sure, he says things I don't like, but if you look at the things he did, if you look at the world the way it was when he was in office, I prefer that world over the Biden's world. And just on raw output of what happened during the presidencies, I'm not going to think about policies. I'm not going to think about anything specific. I'm just going to just which one did I like existing in better? Then they go with Trump. I think that's the non political power argument for Trump.
It's a bad
It
argument.
is a bad argument, but that's what it is.